She looked me straight in the eye in the middle of dinner and said calmly, I'm pregnant, or preemie, and the father may not be you. In that moment, the world was about to explode, but instead of an explosion, there was silence. I simply put down my fork, took a sip of water, and decided to change the rules of the game. She thought I would fall to my knees, that I would beg, scream, fight for her. But I chose otherwise, calm, cool, and a plan. And that's when her lie began to fall apart. What came next didn't just destroy our relationship, it wiped out an entire family. When she said it, I thought I'd misheard. We were halfway through dinner, cheap red wine, pasta steaming on chip plates, and Gretchen just twirled her fork and said, almost casually, I'm pregnant, and you might not be the father. No tremor in her voice, no apology, just dropped it like she was reading a weather report. I didn't throw my fork, didn't yell, didn't cry. I just stared at her for a few seconds, long enough for the silence to start pulsing in my ears. Then I set my glass down and said, okay. She blinked. Like she was waiting for the explosion. Like she'd rehearsed a whole scene in her head and I just ripped the script in half. That's it? Okay, she snapped, already defensive. You're supposed to fight for me? For us? Her tone had that crack of guilt wrapped in arrogance. And something inside me clicked, like a switch flipping from love to logic. I realized in that second she wasn't confessing. She was testing. She wanted a scene. Wanted to see me crumble, to feel powerful again after whatever mess she'd gotten herself into. Instead, I asked, when did you find out? She hesitated. This morning. How far along? 8 weeks. And who else might be the father? Her jaw clenched. She mumbled a name, Mark, and that was it. The moment the world tilted, Mark from sales. The guy she swore was just a friend. I almost laughed from how cliche it was. The air between us went cold. I remember noticing how the candlelight flickered against her wine glass, distorting her reflection until it looked like she had 2 faces, fitting. She tried to reframe it, fast. It might still be yours. I choose you. I want us to raise this baby together. I nodded slowly, almost curious to see how deep she'd dig the hole. That's nice, but biology doesn't care who you choose. We'll do a test. Her eyes widened, like I'd just slapped her. You want a paternity test? That's so cold. I smiled, sharp and tired. So was Denver, apparently. Her chair scraped back hard enough to screech. She started crying. Angry, performative tears that didn't even fall. You're supposed to love me unconditionally, I said quietly. I'm supposed to love my kid.
Hey guys, real quick before we keep going, don't forget to sub and drop a like if you're enjoying the story. Thank you very much. Enjoy watching.
Unconditionally. That part's still pending. Then the wine glass went flying. Missed my head by inches, shattered against the wall. Red streaked down the paint like blood. That was the night I stopped being her boyfriend. I was already dialing my lawyer before I'd even finished wiping the wine off my shirt. The next morning, my phone was buzzing before I'd even made coffee. Unknown number. I answered half asleep and got hit with, how dare you demand a paternity test, Deborah? Gretchen's mom, the woman who once baked me pies and called me the son she never had. Now she sounded like a lawyer possessed. I took a sip of coffee and said, morning to you too, Deborah. She didn't even pause. You broke my daughter's heart. She's in tears. Real men don't ask for DNA tests. They step up. I almost laughed into the mug. Real women don't cheat at company retreats, but here we are. A gasp, sharp enough to pierce the line. You will not disrespect her like this. I didn't, I said, calm as ever. She disrespected me first. I'm just adjusting my expectations. Click. She hung up. I thought that'd be the end of it, but 30 minutes later, another call. Russell this time. Gretchen's dad. The opposite of his wife in every way. Quiet, reasonable, ex-military kind of calm. Son, he said, I heard about what's going on. Let's keep this quiet. No need to embarrass anyone. I rubbed my forehead. Russell, she told me herself. She went public before I even digested dinner. He sighed. She says you're being paranoid. That you're controlling her. I didn't argue, just opened my messages and forwarded him the screenshot, Gretchen admitting she slept with Mark in Denver. The little text bubble popped up, then went silent. After a full minute, he said, I'll handle Deborah. Appreciate it, I said, and hung up. By noon, Gretchen had gone nuclear online. A full-blown social media campaign. Posts about toxic men controlling women's bodies and being forced into medical procedures. Hashtags about empowerment, feminism, love conquering all. The comments were split between, you go girl, and wait, doesn't a paternity test just need blood? I didn't respond. I didn't have to. Screenshots were my artillery. Every post she made was another bullet for my case. By evening, she tagged me in a black and white photo, her hand on her stomach looking solemn. Caption, some men only love conditionally. Some men only stay if the DNA is right. I took a screenshot, muted her account, and went to bed. The calm felt unnatural, like the air before a storm. But that was exactly why I stayed still. People like Gretchen only win when you react. When you match their chaos. I wasn't going to. I'd already decided. No more arguing, no more pleading. Just documents, data, and distance. She could scream all she wanted. on Instagram. The test results would speak louder than any hashtag she could dream up. 2 days later, Gretchen showed up at my apartment. No warning, no text, just pounding on the door like she was the landlord, and I owed rent. I'd already changed the locks and deactivated her key fob. When I opened the door, she was standing there in yesterday's makeup, hair wild, clutching a folder like a lifeline. "It's a voluntary acknowledgement of paternity form," she said, waving the papers at me. "If you sign it, we can move forward. No drama, no tests." I laughed, couldn't help it. "So, you want me to legally claim a kid that might be Mark's?" Her chin trembled, but the act was off this time. She looked desperate, not confident. "It's about trust," she said softly. "If you love me, you'll do this." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Love can read contracts, Gretchen. And this one says I'd be financially responsible for 18 years. So no. That's when she stepped aside, and there he was. Mark, Mr. Denver himself, tight shirt, too much cologne, trying to look like a hero in a bad movie. Well, I said. "If it isn't the man of the hour." Mark puffed out his chest. "Look, man, I know this is hard, but if you're not going to step up, I will. I'll take care of the baby." I smiled. "Great. You can start with prenatal bills. I'll send you an invoice." His confidence cracked just a little. He glanced at Gretchen. "Wait, what do you mean might be mine?" She stammered. I told you it was between you two." I held up a hand. "Correction. Between you and whoever else she met in Denver. I'm officially out of the running." Mark's face fell. He wasn't expecting to be in the same lottery. "Good luck, champ," I said. "Vegas odds are about 50-50 at best." He started to argue, but stopped when I mentioned bills again. Money kills romance faster than truth ever could. Gretchen's tears started then, the messy, ugly kind. "You can't just throw me away. I lived here for a year. I have rights." "Yeah," I said, pointing to the hallway. 30 days. Already filed the notice. Your stuff's in storage. Pay the bill or lose it." She screamed, actually screamed, like a kettle left too long on the stove. Then she tried to push past me into the apartment. I blocked the doorway. "Not happening." Mark muttered something, turned, and walked off. Gretchen followed Maish, sobbing loud enough to make neighbors peek out. When the elevator doors closed, I locked the door, leaned my forehead against it, and exhaled. They thought they could guilt me into compliance. But all they'd done was prove my point. When you stop playing by their emotions, their whole act falls apart. The next day, I got a call from Deborah again. Her tone was syrupy sweet, the kind of fake warmth that always hides poison. "We're having a family dinner," she said. "Just us. No yelling, no drama. We think there's a way to compromise." I almost laughed right then, but curiosity got the better of me. "Sure," I said. "Let's hear this compromise." That night, I walked into their house, the same one where Gretchen and I used to spend holidays, pretending we were one big happy family. The table was set like it was Thanksgiving, candles, roast chicken, glasses of wine already poured. Gretchen sat there, looking small and pitiful, in an oversized sweater, eyes red from crying. Deborah had that smug hostess smile plastered on her face. Her sister, Heather, sat across from me, smirking like she was watching her favorite drama live. And Russell, he looked tired, the kind of tired that goes deeper than sleep. I pulled out a chair. "All right," I said. "Let's hear the pitch." Deborah folded her hands like she was about to close a business deal. "We all know tensions have been high, but there's a way for everyone to win here." "Define win," I said. She gestured toward Gretchen. "She understands you don't want to be involved as a father. We respect that." "Do you?" I asked. "Because your voicemails didn't sound very respectful." Deborah's jaw twitched, but she pushed on. "What we're proposing is simple. You don't have to be listed as the father, but you can still help financially. You've built a stable life. You can afford it. Think of it as doing the right thing." I stared at her for a moment, then laughed. "So, let me get this straight. I'm not the dad, but you still want me to pay for the baby?" Gretchen nodded, barely whispering. "It would mean so much." "It would mean I'm an idiot," I said flatly. "No," Heather chimed in. "Then, you're being heartless. She's scared. She needs support." "Then you support her," I snapped. "You can Venmo her after dinner." That got a glare from Deborah. "You've lived with her for a year. You've benefited from this family. It's your moral responsibility to give back." I leaned forward. "Benefited?" "I paid rent. I bought groceries. The only thing I didn't benefit from was her little Denver adventure." Russell choked into his napkin, trying not to laugh. Deborah shot him a look that could curdle milk. That's when her sister, the quiet one, lifted her glass and said, "Maybe Deborah's so desperate because she knows what it's like." The whole room froze. Russell looked at her sharply. "What's that supposed to mean?" Heather gave a tipsy shrug. "You weren't around back then either. History repeats itself." Deborah went pale. "She's drunk. Ignore her." But Russell was already staring at his wife like he'd just heard something crack open inside his chest. I pushed back my chair, grabbed my jacket, and stood. Dinner, blackmail, and a family bombshell? I think I'll take my dessert to go. As I walked out, Gretchen started sobbing again. Deborah hissed at her sister. Russell sat stone still, eyes on the table. And I knew, whatever that slip meant, it wasn't just a mistake, it was an earthquake waiting to hit. A week later, the DNA results came in. Plain white envelope, just paper, but it felt like dynamite. I sat at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee and opened it slow, letting the silence drag. The words were so clean they almost mocked me. 0% probability of paternity. I stared at it for a full minute, just breathing. No relief, no sadness, just confirmation of what I already knew. Then I flipped to the second page. Mark's test. 0% probability. That one hit different. I actually laughed. Short, sharp, bitter. The guy who puffed his chest out about stepping up didn't even make the cut. I texted Gretchen a photo of the summary page and nothing else. 10 minutes later, she called. "This isn't right," she screamed before I could say hello. "They made a mistake. We need another test." "Gretchen," I said calmly. 2 men, 0 matches. That's not a mistake. That's math. She sobbed into the phone, babbling about lab errors and conspiracies, her voice cracking like static. "You can't abandon me like this." "I'm not abandoning you," I said. "I'm walking away from lies. Big difference." Click. End of call. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed again. Russell. His voice was steady, but there was a weight under it. "Can you come over? Need to show you something." When I got there, his den looked like a crime scene of paperwork. Medical files, old insurance forms, blood type charts spread across his desk. He pointed at one. "Her report says she's B positive. Deborah's O negative. I'm O positive. That's impossible." I frowned. "You sure?" He nodded. "I already ran the numbers twice. A B positive kid can't come from 2 O parents. Not naturally." The silence after that was heavy, suffocating. Then he pulled a second paper from the stack, his own DNA test. "I did this yesterday," he said quietly. "No biological relation." I didn't say anything for a moment. Just exhaled slowly and muttered, "So you've been raising someone else's kid for 28 years. His jaw flexed. "Looks that way." The room was thick with betrayal. He sat there, gripping the paper so tightly it crumpled. "She lied to me for almost 3 decades, built a family on it." I said, "Now it makes sense. Deborah wasn't protecting Gretchen. She was protecting her own lie." He nodded, staring at the floor. "Exactly." When I left his house, the night air felt sharp, cold, clean. I could practically feel the ground shifting beneath that family, one lie collapsing into another. And I knew. The chaos hadn't even started yet. The next morning, my phone was vibrating nonstop. Calls, texts, voicemails. I already knew who it was before I looked. Deborah. When I finally picked up, she didn't even breathe before she started shrieking. You poisoned my husband against me. You're ruining my family." I sat there at my kitchen counter, coffee in hand, staring at the rain sliding down the window. "No, Deborah," I said. "You did that yourself." I just handed him the receipts. "You don't understand," she hissed. "He's talking about divorce. He's saying horrible things about me to our family." I cut her off. "He's telling the truth. The only horrible thing is what you did 28 years ago." Her voice cracked. "You're a monster. You're tearing apart generations of love." I chuckled softly. "Nah. You built it out of lies. I just stopped pretending it was a house." Click. She hung up. Not even 10 minutes later, Gretchen called. Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been screaming all night. "Why did you tell him?" "Tell him what? The truth?" "You didn't have to get involved in my parents' marriage. Gretchen, your aunt did that. I just happened to be standing there when she dropped the bomb." She was sobbing now, messy and furious all at once. "You ruined everything. You destroyed my family, my life, everything." "No," I said quietly. "Your mother's lies did that. You're just mad because the pattern finally caught up with you." She started screaming curses into the phone, voice breaking into static, then hung up. That afternoon, Russell called again. His tone was different this time, calm, cold, like a man sharpening a knife. "I filed for divorce, T," he said. "I've wasted nearly 3 decades, not one more day." "Good," I said. "You deserve better than lies dressed as loyalty." He exhaled. "You were right to demand proof. Save me from another 28 years of pretending." By evening, the fallout had gone public. Deborah tried to spin it, posting vague Facebook quotes about forgiveness and God testing our hearts. But small towns have long memories and even longer tongues. Within hours, everyone knew. Russell wasn't Gretchen's biological father. Gretchen's baby had no father at all. And somehow, in the chaos, they all still found a way to blame me. My tires got slashed that night. 3 of them, clean cuts, surgical precision. I didn't need to guess who did it. The security camera caught Gretchen's car idling at the curb at 2:14 a.m. I didn't call her, didn't post anything. Just sent the footage straight to my lawyer with the subject line, "Add this to the folder." Let them spiral. Let them burn every bridge they had left. I wasn't even angry anymore, just watching, quiet and steady, as the lies that family built finally turned on them. A week after the tire incident, Gretchen showed up at my apartment again. 8 months pregnant this time, swollen ankles, eyes bloodshot from crying. She was clutching a grocery bag like it was proof she still belonged there. I didn't even open the door fully. Just enough for her to see I wasn't interested in another performance. "Please," she whispered, voice shaking. "I have nowhere to go. My dad won't talk to me. My mom's losing it." Mark disappeared. "I can't do this alone." For a split second, I almost pitied her. Almost. But then I remembered the way she'd weaponized that baby from the moment she said might not be yours. "Sounds like a series of choices finally caught up to you," I said. She blinked, then tried to soften her tone. The baby's innocent. Don't punish it for my mistakes. You could still be in his life. Maybe not as a father, but... I interrupted. You tried to trick me into being a father when you didn't even know whose kid it was. That ship sunk. Her lip trembled. I'll do anything. Just don't leave me like this. I leaned against the doorframe. You cheated, you lied, and you tried to make me pay for it. Literally. You want help? Call Mark. She flinched. He blocked me. Then call the baby's real father, I said. Oh, wait. You don't even know who that is. Her face twisted from pleading to fury in seconds. You're cruel. No, I said quietly. I'm consistent. Then she tried to push past me. I blocked the doorway again, this time firmer. Not happening, Gretchen. You've got 30 days' notice, your stuff's in storage. Pay the bill or lose it. She stood there, trembling, then spat. You'll regret this. I smiled. Not my kid, not my problem. She stormed off, almost tripping over herself as she waddled down the hallway. Heather was waiting in the car downstairs, engine idling. When Gretchen climbed in, Heather glared up at me through the windshield and flipped me off. Real mature. After they drove off, I just stood there for a minute, staring at the space she'd occupied in my doorway. The quiet afterward was deafening. Later that night, I checked social media. Curiosity, not weakness. Gretchen had already turned her meltdown into a pity parade. Long caption about some men running from responsibility and being stronger on my own. The comments were full of sympathy, from strangers who didn't know a single fact, but every photo told the real story. Her smile was forced, her eyes were hollow. Heather's patience was already thinning. I logged off and sat in the dark, listening to the hum of my fridge. For the first time in months, I felt peace, the kind that comes not from winning, but from finally walking away from a war you never wanted to fight in the first place. By late summer, everything had unraveled exactly how I knew it would. Gretchen gave birth in July, a healthy 7-pound baby boy, but when it came time to fill out the birth certificate, the line for file my father stayed blank. No mark, no mystery man, and definitely not me. Just NA in neat black print. That empty space said more than any of her speeches ever could. I didn't find out from her, of course. One of her old coworkers mentioned it in passing when I ran into him at the grocery store. He looked uncomfortable, like he'd just told me someone's funeral date. I thanked him, paid for my stuff, and walked out with a strange calm. It was over. Completely. Finally over. Online, Gretchen tried to rebrand herself. A strong single mom. Photos of her holding the baby. Orion Sage of all names. Under inspirational quotes about resilience. Her followers dropped quick. The sympathy wore off when the gossip caught up, that she'd cheated, lied, and had no idea who the father was. People started whispering again, asking questions she couldn't answer. Even her crystal-selling side hustle tanked. Apparently, Pity doesn't sell Sage bundles. Heather lasted another month before booting her out. Rumor was Gretchen couldn't pay rent, kept crying all night, and left baby bottles on every surface. She ended up crashing with Deborah, who was now living with her sister. Yeah, the same one who accidentally exposed her secret. That house must have been hell. 3 women, 1 screaming baby, and decades of resentment thick enough to choke on. Russell, on the other hand, looked like a man reborn. He finalized the divorce, sold the old house, and moved near the coast, picked up fishing again, started smiling in pictures. When we grabbed coffee one afternoon, he told me, "You saved me years. If I'd kept believing her, I'd still be living a lie." I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. Meanwhile, Mark from sales? Vanished. Word was, he transferred to another branch after his family man reputation crumbled. Couldn't stand the looks, I guess. As for me, life leveled out in the best way possible. I got promoted, started seeing someone new, Ruby. No games, no secrets, just laughter and quiet mornings. When I told her the story, she shook her